we always do it this time. I got to shine.
Welcome to the good life. Won't even get pulled over in they new V. The good life. Let's go on a living spree. Shit.
How are we doing, folks? Your host Moose here, back on the Pitt Panthers Football Network, back to recap week number 5 around the NCAA. Of course, your Pittsburgh Panthers are coming off a massive 45-41 victory away at number 23 Oklahoma State. As well, in the ACC, Clemson eked out a 35-33 victory, held off a late rally from NC State to claim that win. Virginia Tech obliterated Marshall to improve to 2-1. Syracuse defeated Tulane to bop up to 3-1. Miami stays undefeated with a 24-6 victory over an FCS squad. Wake Forest goes to 4-0. Very impressive start to their season. Florida State beats Louisville in the real big contest of the week, 34-20. Francois with another fantastic performance, a rushing touchdown, 2 passing touchdowns for the young quarterback, so he's making a real impact. North Carolina with a 20-10 victory over Georgia Tech to improve to 3-1 after starting 0-1. Virginia loses to an FCS squad 20-3 to fall to 0-3, so very disappointing for them. And Duke lose in a very harsh fashion as well. Over on the NCAA top 25 side, Alabama just barely escapes in overtime against Colorado State with a 2017 victory. Washington with a big win, Michigan with a big win, Texas A&M with a big win. Notre Dame beating Michigan State 45-17, what you thought would have been a competitive battle. Ohio State beating Nebraska easily. Houston with an easy win. Tennessee escape in overtime to improve to 4-0 against Florida, who dropped to 1-2 with another loss after losing to Miami last week. So a big victory for the Vols to improve to 4-0. Really, could this be the year that Tennessee returns? We shall see. LSU with a blowout victory. Arizona State upsetting undefeated Stanford to improve to 3-0, 35-31 on a touchdown with 7 seconds left in the game to take the lead. They were down 3 and ended up winning by 4. Georgia with a win. Texas goes to 3-0 after beating Kansas State. So with those games in hand, your players of the week: Baker Mayfield with a very dominating performance, 350 yards, 5 touchdowns. Enrico Williams with 3 interceptions for South Carolina are going to be your NCAA players of the week. In the ACC, Tremaine Washington, an int, a sack, a forced fumble. He was all over the field for Louisville despite their loss. And Irvin Phillips, 226 yards and 2 touchdowns for Syracuse in their win, which is an unbelievable performance. So with those being your players of the week, let's take a look at the Heisman race. Weber jumps up to the top spot after a 113-yard, 3-touchdown performance against Nebraska. Trevor Knight does drop down after a real, average performance. But Nick Chubb jumps up to 3rd here in our Heisman watch. Francois, after a big win over Louisville, is up to 4th, and Leonard Fournette with 2 touchdowns in the blowout win over Auburn is into our Heisman watch. So with those results from Week 5, let's take a look going into Week 6. What does the top 25 in the NCAA look like currently? And of course, you take a look at our poll. Clemson's number 1 in the media poll. Alabama number 1 in the coaches poll, with Clemson just behind them there. Oklahoma is 3rd, Michigan 4th, Florida State 5th, Ohio State 6th, Tennessee up to 7th after their big win. TCU, Washington, LSU round out your top 10. Big movers and shakers here. Stanford's down to 14 from 7th after their loss. Baylor, Miami, Texas all moving up single digits. Arizona State's up to 19th. Louisville drops back to 21st after their loss. Wisconsin 25th and North Carolina 25th into the rankings. Pitt sitting just outside in 26th position. So you have to think they might get into the rankings next week, even though they have a bye here coming up in week 5, This is a Week 4 recap. Coming up to Week 5, the Panthers will have a bye before they take on Old Dominion the following week. So if we look at the ACC standings, you can see Florida State, Wake Forest, Clemson killing it on the Atlantic side. North Carolina, Virginia Tech, Miami all looking good on the other side of the ball in that regard. Oklahoma is going to take on number 13 Notre Dame, who does have 1 loss. It'll be at Notre Dame, but Kirk is picking Baker Mayfield's squad to come away with the victory. LSU at Tennessee, and Kirk is picking Tennessee to stay undefeated. They are running an absolute gauntlet of a schedule right now. Can they come away with yet another victory? In our final big game, Ole Miss and Alabama. We expect Alabama to win despite the trouble they've had with Ole Miss. So as always, guys, let me know what you think of how things have shaken out this year, who's going to win some of the games this week, and as always, we'll see you with a special episode coming up in the bye week here. We like to do some special features in the bye week. There's no doubt about that, just to give something cool, some little background information that's not just games and recaps and things like that. So we're going to throw in some cool episodes in that regard, so expect that coming up very soon. So as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.